Hi, I'm Marcel Pfister, and while driving with the Porsche Cup of ACC in the rain of Silverstone, I will talk a bit about my early experience with the Valve Index. Before I start, if you have tried ACC before and you weren't happy, give it another chance. It really improved and I like it. Everything you hear right now is recorded with the internal microphone of the Index, so you get an idea of how good it sounds. I didn't buy one yet, but luckily a friend was so kind to give me one for a while. My previous VR experience was mainly with the Oculus Rift CV1 over the last couple of years, and before that a little bit with the HTC Vive. I haven't tried the Rift S yet. Because of several reasons, it's not so appealing to me. It seems like only the resolution and ease of use really improved with the Rift S, but the rest feels more like a cost down. Main things that at least on paper I dislike are the lower refresh rate, no improvement of field of view, missing proper headphones, and I'm not a fan of inside-out tracking, which in my special use case won't work because of my green screen setup. All that is the reason why I mainly had my eyes on the Valve Index lately, because I want a finished and polished product. I'm not so much interested in the Pimax headsets, even though they might work great for some. Enough introduction, let's start talking about the Valve Index specifically. To give you a short summary in case of too long I didn't watch, hardware top, software kind of flop. The first thing I've noticed coming from the Rift is of course the increased resolution and sharpness, which most of you might know already. Surprisingly, even the depth perception improved with the Index. Because of the sharper image across the whole screen and the almost completely gone screen door effect, 3D looks even more believable and tricks the brain better than ever. Finally, I can read all numbers in the dash you see here, even the smaller ones, without the need of directly looking at them. Focusing in the distance is easier and more comfortable. It definitely puts a lot less strain on your eyes now. I even wear the Index while editing this video and felt totally comfortable while doing it. I can understand that for some people the resolution and sharpness of the first VR headsets weren't good enough. But now with the Index and other headsets with similar resolution, I can't really see that being an issue anymore. Everyone which is not happy yet is, in my opinion, just way too picky and isn't getting how much else VR offers that a monitor just can't deliver. In the old Rift, sometimes you had to guess which kind of car is in front of you. That's something of the past now. I was looking forward a lot to the increased field of view the Index should offer, and it's nice to have a little improvement there, but at least for me it wasn't that noticeable and wouldn't be a reason to buy it. Something great in comparison to the Rift S is that you have all the choices regarding refresh rate. You can choose between 80, 90, 120 and even 144 Hz. Even though the higher refresh rates will be quite hard to achieve even with high-end PCs, it's a great tool to balance visuals and performance. If you, for example, struggle to reach 80 FPS on the Rift S, which only offers 80 Hz, in-game frames will drop to only 40, and the head tracking will be smoothened with reprojection to fill in the missing frames. Maybe your PC might not struggle so much to achieve 60 or 70 frames per second, but that doesn't help here, because as soon as you go below 80 it will result in 40. But with the Index on the other hand, where you of course would have the same issue with the lowest 80 Hz setting, you can raise the refresh rate to 120 Hz. You are still in reprojection territory then, but cutting 120 in half will give you 60 frames per second instead of 40 and a smoother experience. Like you've probably already heard, the integrated speakers are awesome and even a little bit better than the already great Rift CV1 headphones. I was positively surprised that even though they are not designed for noise cancelling, I didn't hear my big loud fan which is directly pointed at me. The bassline might not be as good as very good on-ear headphones, but spatial audio is phenomenal and they couldn't be more comfortable. Talking about comfortable, the headset is a bit heavier than the Rift, but that I only felt when turning my head quite fast from side to side. Other than that, it doesn't feel heavy. The The head straps and headset itself have plenty of adjustments, and it didn't take long to find a good sweet spot. From other reviewers like Gamer Muscle, I've heard the index can get quite warm, so I kept the front cover off and my fan on full speed. The headset indeed felt a bit warmer than the Rift, but I wasn't sweating more than I'm used to, and it was still comfortable enough to drive long. I might put a little USB fan in the front port the Index offers when I get one. Even though I had the lenses really close to my eyes, they were not fogging up yet, which sometimes happened with the Rift. The Fresnel lenses itself look a bit rougher and cheaper than those of the Rift and Rift S, but when you wear it, the sweet spot and clarity is great across a very big range, and I can read text up to the outer edges of them, which was impossible with my old Rift. One downside of the Index's rougher Fresnel lenses is a little bit more shimmer crossfiring from other parts of the image. For example, you have a quite dark car interior, but the outside is bright. Then the light coming in from the windscreen in the upper part of the image reflects from the lower part of the lenses as well and washes out the darkness there a bit. That's something I immediately noticed when jumping in the car first, but I quickly forgot about when driving. This effect gives the impression the display would have bad black levels, but when directly looking at something dark, it is not as dark as on an OLED screen, but it isn't bad at all. It's the Fresnel lenses which make it look worse than it is when something brighter is displayed at the same time. In general, the headset is really great and I like it a lot. Sadly, the software called SteamVR isn't on par. Oculus Home has its flaws as well, and by far isn't perfect. But most of the time it just worked, and was always ahead regarding features like asynchronous space warp, for example. SteamVR did improve in that section, and now being in reprojection is finally usable like with Oculus. But it was quite a shock how much issues I had during my first testing. Base station not found. Had to restart SteamVR. Desktop view not working. Had to restart SteamVR. Can't restart with the headset on. I had to stand up and walk to my PC monitor. And this happened way too often. Mostly was solved with the restart or two, but totally annoying. I thought the tracking is superior to the Rift ones, and while you are in range it might be the case. But sometimes when I go outside of the range to grab my keyboard or something to drink, I come back in range and the tracking is off center. Something annoying in comparison to the Rift. When tracking might be interrupted because of whatever reason, the Rift always showed you what is happening in game. Worst case it looked a bit janky, but at least I could see. With SteamVR on the other hand, it just grays out your complete vision and you can't see anything. I guess to prevent you from getting sick, but it reacts too sensitive and I would like to disable that. This happens for example when I readjust the index on my head. By grabbing it I block the tracking with my hand. Compatibility so far is also not on par with the Rift. This might not be an issue of the index in general, and maybe it's just because it's newer and some games didn't adapt yet. In iRacing for example, something weird is going on when I move my head around. It looks a little bit warped. Not that it's totally obvious, but looking around while driving feels weird at times. And I am not the only one who has these issues. There are at least 2 discussions on the iRacing forum talking about it. ACC, interestingly, besides his high resource demand, worked really well, felt natural and smooth. AC1 was okay as well, just the mirrored image on the monitor was totally distorted and not usable for recording. I know that's mainly due to implementation of the still new index, but I hope they address this and offer developers help. I know that Oculus is quite close to game devs and they did even travel to some sim racing studios to make sure everything is working fine. I don't know if Valve's priorities regarding this are on the similar level. Let's hope for the best. I've used the index for 4 days now and I really enjoyed the headset a lot when it worked properly. Still I'm not sure if I want to spend so much money for something I probably have to troubleshoot and compromise more than before. Let's see how much the lower resolution and sharpness strikes me when going back to my old Rift. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I had some useful information for you. Please feel free to leave a comment about your opinion or questions. Have a nice day.